Good morning guys, it's time for another shave and this time I will use Le Lucien shaving soap, which I've been using for a little bit with hot water, so it is now pretty shiny, and I wet my face so it is a little bit dripping from my 2 days beard growth. And like I said, with some other soaps, if you're not using your soap regularly, then the surface will become a little bit dry, and especially with the glycerin soaps like Le Lucien. It is completely vegetal based. The loading can be a little bit difficult to start with, but I discovered this if I pour a little bit of warm water, like from Kettler, then it will just soften the surface of the soap. I will scoop just the right amount of it. And in overall, the lathering process will be much more pleasant. So I think I have less than 50 shaves with Le Lucien. And although before I started soaking it or blooming it, my first impressions were, if I'm ever going to purchase like refill packs of any soaps, then Le Lucien will be first on my list. It is a French origin, comes from a family-owned soap making factory. We could say it is sort of artisan based, although at first my only idea was to actually have that nice aluminum bowl, which I could reuse for Arco and stuff. But this soap is very nice, light, but creates, as you can see, pretty creamy and pasty leather, which is for a vegetal based soap really remarkable. And I could definitely use a little bit more water right now. So regarding the lightness of the soap, what I actually enjoy most is the formula, which feels very breathable on the skin. It's not like something which you will have difficulties to rinse out, but it is so nice and refreshing, especially with this cologne and fougere smell. So it's like a pine forestry scent. Especially I like to use it in the summertime, and you can see now how pliable it is. So definitely this thing can drink a lot of water. And I will leave it as is to soak the whiskers a little bit, because for the soap, for the razor, I will have very familiar teeth, R41 with rose gold handle, easy to disassemble, and I will load it with Mem silver. So I was pretty pleasantly surprised by the Mem blades, and I decided just to try them with a really mean razor, just to see how wrong I was in the past. And I could say that, yeah, it seems that blade alignment is pretty nice. So let's start with the shave. I like R41 for new blades tryouts because the poor blades tend to feel pretty plucky and tugging in R41. So this is my sort of assessment on how good or how sharp some blade is. So with very light touch, as you can see, a lot of stubble is being removed. I have one mean pimple in here, which is not strange. Especially during the summertime, when I'm sweating a little bit more and when all that grease from the skin is really driving into the follicles. I have a mosquito flying around. And now on these difficult portions of my skin, I feel like mem blade is not performing as it should. And a few nicks. So definitely poor blade choice. But I'm not going to stop. Yeah, to be quite honest, I cannot say where I made this cut. It looks like another pimple, which was just being sliced off. So I will reapply the lather for the second pass. And the only reason for second pass with R41 in my case would be simply the poor blade. When I sense this tugging, I just know that nothing was cut in a way as it should be. So let's just perform one careful against the grain pass. And to be quite honest with you, neck is now pretty BBS, and the blade did not feel that horrible, you know. So I would guess that it is some sort of sharpening angles, how the blade edge is actually formed in a factory, because right now I sense that it is doing its work just as it should. So maybe MEM blades are just not speaking the same language as R41, because R41 has pretty flat blade position. And as I showed in other videos, some blades simply work better, some are not performing at all. So yeah, nothing to complain. My guess is that from a mechanical point of view, the way how the blade is sharpened, how it is tucked inside the razor head, when the blade encounters the whiskers, if these two things are not matching, then maybe the blade will suffer from additional flexing or pressure or some mechanical stress. And since we are comparing steel blade with keratin hairs, you know who is going to lose in this battle. But on the second pass it seems much nicer, so maybe MEM blades are simply not designed to suffer from high stress, you know. As from this second pass, they are working extremely nice and comfortable. Yeah, and we are complete. And after rinsing, the skin sensation after the Le Perret Lucien is very nice, feels very slick, very moisturized. So the formula of the soap is, I would say, one of the really best. Of course, if you don't want that thick tallow sensation. And I will use some Brion to seal the nicks. To my surprise, I felt first time a little bit of tingling here on the cheeks. So I would say that there is definitely some weird blade, either jumping, either, you know, some flexing while the cut is being made. And yeah, for everything else the shave was pretty nice, pretty great, extremely smooth, no leftovers, some skin issues, and I will wipe the blood so you can see that there is really nothing in here. So yeah, just some follicle poorly cut, so I would say for a Monday, not a bad shave. Thank you for watching and see you next time. Bye.